In this video, we're going to learn how to create a histogram and a frequency polygon for the given data. This video is going to be split into two separate parts. In this video, I'm going to show you how to make a histogram. In the next video, I'll show you how to make a frequency polygon. So you can watch both of these here back to back if you want to find out how to do them both, or if you just want one, you can skip to the other and so forth. So the problem we have here is use the frequency distribution below to create a histogram and a frequency polygon for the data. Label each graph as well as all the axes. So this really isn't too difficult to create. Basically all we're going to do is to make a histogram first, which is what I'm going to do in this video. We're going to select our frequency column. Now we're not going to select the zeros. We're only going to select everything in between the zeros. So which is this 4 through 3 here. We're going to go to insert, and you notice the ribbon changes. Now we have these items we can insert. We're going to insert a chart. So we're going to click up here where it says insert column or bar chart. And we're just going to go into select the first thing, this 2D column, the cluster column. And this is what we're going to use to create our histogram. So we'll just go ahead and start by titling it histogram so we know what we're working with. So by definition, a histogram doesn't have any gaps in between the bars. That is, this white space that you see here in between the bars, a histogram doesn't have any of that. All the bars are fat and they're touching one another. So that's what we're going to do now. We're going to start by making this into a histogram versus just a vertical bar chart. So we're going to start by selecting down here. If you right click, it doesn't matter which bar you right click on, just right click on a bar and select Format Data Series at the very bottom. It brings you to this option here. So under Series and Options, underneath this little bar here, you're going to click on that, this arrow which collapses this view here, and we see that the gap width is 219%. Well, we don't want that. We want 0%. So we're just going to drag this down to 0, or you can also type in 0 there, whatever you like to do. So now this is a histogram, since there's no gaps in between the lines. And you notice that the lines are a little bit difficult to see. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on this bucket here, the fill and line, and we're going to select border. Just right click, or just standard click on that. You see an option here for solid line. I'm just going to go ahead and click that, which now puts lines in between our bars here. Now you can select a color. By default, I have it set to black, so that's the easiest to see. And so we have black lines here, which makes these bars easier to see. Next, we're going to click on these numbers on the bottom, and we want this to be our upper class boundaries, this x-axis here, or horizontal axis. So you're going to select, and then we're going to right click on the numbers, and then click on select data. So you see here, this has a generic 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, which you can see here. And we don't want that. We want our upper class boundaries to be our horizontal axis. So we're going to click on edit here. And when it asks us to type in the axis range, all we're going to do is we're just going to select the upper class boundaries. So we're just going to drag and pull down there. We have our upper class boundaries selected here. We're just going to hit OK. And then hit OK again. So now for our horizontal axis, we have the upper class boundary selected for that. Now the last thing we need to do is we need to add our axis titles so we know what we're looking at here. So if you hit this plus button and then click the check mark which has axis titles. So on this vertical axis here, this represents our frequencies. That's what these bars are here. This is our frequency column. So we're just going to type in frequency, which it actually already comes up as soon as I click it. So this is our frequency. Then for our horizontal axis, as we just worked with, this is our upper class boundaries. We're just typing upper boundaries. So this is the standard way to make a histogram using data that's already given to you. Some word problems you will have require you to conduct a chart and make that yourself. And in place of putting frequency and upper class boundaries, you may have to put the actual chart title itself that's given to you. But in this case, since it was already given to us, we just type in upper class boundaries and frequency so we know what we're working with. And that's generally what you're going to do if you have numbers already given to you. So this is how you make a histogram, and in the following video I'm going to show you how to make a frequency polygon for the data that you have.